Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome to our Advent edition as we are passing week 2, going into week 3 of Advent. You are watching Uniquely Lutheran. I am your co-host Al Ernst, along with Pastor Jeff Gross, the pastor extraordinaire of New Life Lutheran Church in Sarasota, Florida, which I will turn over and ask him to begin with prayer.
Thank you, Al. Dearest God, I ask your blessings upon us as we take this journey to the coming of Christ. And we are grateful for his arrival on Christmas, and we're looking forward to Jesus' arrival in his glory. And until then, prepare our hearts and our minds and prepare us to receive the good news and the blessing of his presence. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, Jeff, we have passed week 2 of Advent, going into week 3. But I'm going to ask you right off the bat is that we had a formal lighting of the Advent candle. And I understand now that the symbolism of that each week is a word on it. And
I can't remember the words. But is it hope for 3?
No, it was hope for 2. So tell me.
Well, the week 3 is an interesting week because for the congregations that can afford to change their paraments, the technical color for this week is primrose. It's the color of the sun coming up in the sky. It's what you would see in the morning. And for the people who celebrated Advent in parts of the world where there's lots and lots of darkness this time, the shortest day of the week is the 21st of December. That's the color of hope, the hope that daylight will soon be here. It won't be perpetually dark. And it's the Laudette or Gaudete is the name of that candle. And it looks like pink, but it's supposed to look like the sunrise. And that's what the third week of Advent is, the middle. It's actually the middle point. I know it sounds weird to say that's the middle because it's really the third or the fourth, but it's the midway to Christmas. We're midway to Christmas. And it's hard to believe Christmas is almost here.
Wow. Okay, fantastic, buddy. Well, with that, we had a big announcement. And number one, our producer, Brian, who sits behind the scenes, I got to tell him how thankful we are to have him. But B, you are coordinating an event with
the spring after next. We're taking the time necessary to make that event go well, and it's an opportunity for us to take a pilgrimage. And I say a pilgrimage as opposed to just a tour, is because we're going to spend some quality time with God. Looking at the sites of where Jesus was born, where he traveled, where the Annunciation was made, where his death and resurrection occurred. All of these opportunities to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. And it's a once-in-a-lifetime trip for many people, but it also will enhance your spirituality significantly. It certainly enhanced mine. I had the privilege of taking a trip to the Holy Lands a few years ago, and it has changed every way I look at the story of Jesus. Now I pay attention to geography. I never did before, but now I do, and it's a great gift to yourself. It's an opportunity I heartily recommend.
Okay, you hardly, but you're not going the complete way on this, and this is he is a part of Cruise Planner. What's the difference on this tour of the Holy Land? It's a cruise, is it not?
We're not taking any boats.
You're not taking any boats, so you're just going to the Holy Land.
Yeah.
But the name of the company is Cruise Planner.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, the name of the company is Cruise Planner, but yeah.
I just want to make sure that people don't, when they see that, they don't think that are we getting on a big ship and touring around the.
I suppose you could take a boat to Haifa if you really wanted to, or Tel Aviv. But We will see Haifa, and we will, I'm sure, go through Tel Aviv. But alas, we won't be going on a ship.
Okay.
We'll be flying into the Ben Gurion Airport, which happens to be halfway between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and that's quite a place unto itself. It's a safe, and I think that's the thing I like to reiterate to people. I said I felt extremely safe. That's the first thought that goes through the people's minds is we're going to a part of the world that has had some hostility and a little bit of danger, and I felt safe completely. And when you get out of the Ben Gurion Airport, trust me, the Israelis know how to keep you safe.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They're seasoned veterans when it comes to that.
Yeah. I have definitely heard that through the years, and I can tell you they have shifted some of those techniques to other countries around, as I have been working on cruise ships for 27 years. So I understand about that. When they say something to me, they always say this was an Israeli security technique, and their idea of how they keep their plane secure and everything like that is so much completely different than our idea of what happens there. So let's just say you get asked a lot of questions. You don't have to go through as many searches necessarily, taking your shoes off and doing all that kind of stuff, but you get a lot more personal questions.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, they know.
Of what
they know. I don't want to give any away of their trade tricks, but I did at least hear a couple of them, and I thought, well, that's pretty clever. That's pretty clever. What I think I'll say, the only thing you have to prepare for when you go to the Holy Lands is perfect weather. I think climatically it is unbelievably. I said I didn't realize how pleasant it was over here. It's like a great big San Diego is what it feels like, and it's hilly, it's beautiful, and it's meaningful, and that's and safe, and those are the things that'll be the
well. So the big thing is you're going to see this graphics probably on the New Life website. You're going to be seeing it on my personal Jester Dog website as I tour churches for hurricane relief and everything else, and you'll see something that says cruise planners. This one is not a cruise. So I just want to make sure we're real clear on that part of it, and that we will be announcing something post this event. And when is the dates again? It is.
Don't have it at my fingertips. It's after Easter 2024.
In 2024, and after that, actually, my friend from Cruise Planners will be doing a cruise. So how about that? And that'll have something more to do with some comedy and things like that. I think one of the greatest things that Cruise Planners offers, and Brian, back me up on this if you think, is the fact that you are a faith-based business, and that really means a whole lot, especially when you're doing these kind of tours. You know what you're getting, you know the character of it, so that we try to keep everything, and I say I kind of feel like a part of the team now. We try to keep you up front on expenses and on everything like that, and I think that's a great part of travel, of which I haven't been in the sales part of it. I've been in the delivery part of it, whereas an entertainer for 27 years on cruise ships, I guess I'm a part of what people's delivery are. And one of the biggest things that happens on these kind of events is that people get, how should I, just say in plain words, they get nickeled and dimed to death.
Right.
And that is, if there's one complaint when you hear this is an all-inclusive package, that when you start getting nickeled and dimed to death on these events is I think, and when you're operating with a faith-based company, also, as I've gotten to be good friends, Brian, and correct me, he's right behind us, folks. So I can just say, your wife Tina is your wife?
No, Isabel or Kimberly.
I'm
Kimberly.
sorry. Wow, he couldn't even remember.
I named my daughters first, but
No,
my
I'm
wife
sorry,
is Kimberly.
I am so sorry. Tina is our church administrator. As a comedian, I can barely remember jokes. I'm even worse with names. And I'm so glad Brian gave up the wrong name for his. So obviously Brian comes to us from the Mormon faith.
No, yeah.
and so he comes. No, I'm joking, and all my Mormon friends, I'm joking. That is the easiest joke that any comedian ever has on that. So one of his sister wives is Isabella, and his wife is Kimberly. So no, his actual one and only wife is Kimberly.
Yep.
Great
Anyway,
couple, and a great couple, and he. I hope you don't mind me saying this over the air. Jeff, you did the vow, the reaffirming of vows,
anniversary,
25th anniversary, which I think is meaningful and wonderful. On our 25th anniversary, honestly, my wife and I did it in Las Vegas with Elvis.
Oh wow! I did not dress like Elvis.
You didn't sing anything, but it was. I think both of them have meaning to them, and both of them are wonderful. And obviously, you can tell which couple has the husband who's a stand-up comedian. But I just thought when he mentioned that in the announcing this trip to the Holy Land on Sunday Church, it made me go back and remember. We had a renewal of our vows at the same wedding chapel that Michael Jordan, and they had all these celebrities who got married there. And I thought it's not a good track record because every one of those celebrities are divorced now or annulled.
Well, fortunately, you were renewing your vows. You weren't starting.
No, it wasn't making
it
it legal there. So and I wanted obviously my wife wanted one romantic Elvis song, and then I got to pick an Elvis song. And what did I pick? The Battle Hymn of the Republic, because, if you're married this long, mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord is really, really what you gotta thank for. So we were the only wedding couple that I was so Lutheran that I insisted the processional hymn, true story, come up was a Mighty Fortress is Our God was our processional hymn in the wedding.
That's hardcore Lutheran.
That's hardcore Lutheran. So anyway, I think we have a great little team here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I may have an opportunity to accompany this group, and if I get that, we can make it as spiritually meaningful as we can. Have a lot of fun with it as well, because I can promise you, no matter how smoothly a travel event goes, there is stress, period. Okay, folks, I've done this now for 33 years, and I can tell you whether it is a car rental, an airline trip, now with COVID and everything else that's going on in the world, there is nothing that goes without stress. And you may just need a comedian to at least lighten up the mood a little bit.
Sure.
And I shouldn't say this in front of God on a religious broadcast or anything if we call it that here, but Jeff will be the one, if you really want the facts of whatever area of the Holy Land we're in, if you come to me asking those questions, I'm going to be honest right here in front of everybody. I'm going to lie. Okay? I'm going to give you information that has no relevance whatsoever, and I'm just going to make stuff up as we go along. So if you want the Alert's made-up version of the Holy Land, you can come see me. If you really want, it's going to be, you'll need to see come. There's been too many years where people have asked me things like tourist type things on cruise ships when we get to a particular, and like when we were going through the Panama Canal, I had no idea. I mean, I had a general idea, and someone came up and asked me a very technical question on it, and I just said, "You realize you're asking the comedian, so I'm going to give you a comedic answer. And I said, yeah, they actually empty the entire lake of Gatun, and they put us on wheels, and they roll us along a roadway across the pan. I don't know.
Messing with tourists. That's a.
I didn't take your money, but I did make you laugh.
Sure, of course, absolutely.
So with that, we made that announcement. I think that's a great. I think it's kind of like Advent. It is like this is our
certainly an adventure.
Right? It's an adventure. So isn't that cool?
And it's a good preparation. I think it's a different kind of a trip than if you were cruising up the Danube or the Rhine and looking at wineries and castles and cathedrals. This is a truly an opportunity to grow in your faith.
Fantastic.
And there's a Letter of Paul's tour that does include a boat, 10 days on or 5 days on and 5 days off. And that Letter of Paul's tour, that would be great because that takes you to Ephesus, that takes you to Patmos, that takes you to all of those places that you read about in the sequel, i.e. the letters of Paul, the sequel to the gospel.
I love it.
Well, so we'll have a sequel to this trip, and that will be that one.
Well, I cannot wait, and in somewhere in between, you'll get an announcement of maybe a particular cruise where you'll get to spend it with some really fun comedians and a great time after you recover from this trip to the Holy Land. So I think we've got a lot of stuff, a lot of great things to look forward to. We have excitement happening. So be sure to tell the group one more time again about our Wednesday night Advent services.
Thank you. This is a big part of Advent too, Al, is a lot of people really look at Advent as just a great way to decorate your house for Christmas, and that's fine. That's fine. Advent really is a chance for you to get away from all the commotion and spend a little quality time with God. And what we do on Wednesday nights, and it's only half hour long, is we do the Holden evening prayer. It was well attended last week. It was a nice crew that came to be a part of that. And it grows by mouth. It grows by reputation. And word of mouth has been our best seller, which I think is good because that's more genuine, authentic anyway. It's musical, and I get to sing. That's not the draw. My wife is there too. She's singing. We do a little bit of singing back and forth, and it's a liturgy that's called a Vesper service. The Vespers have been around for over 1,000 years, so we're not really giving anything new, but we're just doing it on Advent.
Fantastic. Yep. Well, be sure to stop by here on Wednesday nights, and
then the Vine Times afterwards at 6:30.
And then at 6:30 is the actual time where we do the Bible study. So Stick around for that as well. As you can tell, it's an exciting time. What do we have going on moving into Christmas Eve and everything like that? How are our services going to run?
4:00 and 6:00. We're doing 2 services on Christmas Eve, 4:00 and 6:00. So it'll be a little dusky by 6:00 or 7:00 when people are driving out. Not the midnight. We don't do. we didn't do the midnight service last year either. But there will be candlelights. There will be candles, and there will be Holy Communion, and that's going to be really a special event. And so having 2 services gives you an opportunity to spend your Christmas Eve the way that fits your family the best.
Right. So, and what does it also do? Give us an opportunity to turn on our disco ball
and see the stars as the wise men would have seen, and John Travolta.
That's right. See, you
get John Travolta.
See, you have to also have a little bit of fun. And yes, our church, if you have not been inside and do not know this, you will see a disco ball hanging on the top of our church sanctuary. Some people have asked that are new members, why? Why do we have this? Well, the church originally met at the Knights of Columbus down on Fruitville Road. And when we were in the Knights of Columbus, one of our favorite things to do is we said we met in quote unquote in the bar of the Knights of Columbus, and it had a disco ball, and it became what we turned on during our candlelight services on Christmas Eve back then. And so we just made the disco ball a tradition at this church from when this actual building was
It
built.
is a novelty. You won't find too many disco balls.
You're not going to find. I was just in a bunch of other churches. I can promise you there was not one disco ball in a sanctuary anywhere else. So we have that on Christmas Eve. What other events am I missing?
Well, I think that what I would say in general when it comes to this time of the year, and like I said about the Advent last week, think of it less as putting one more thing on your calendar and think of it more as taking one thing off of your calendar. One of the problems with the season leading up to Christmas is we get so busy and our calendars get so cluttered that when Christmas finally gets here, I hate to say we're kind of tired of it. And it should never be the case, because at the end of the day, it's about the birthday of Jesus. And that's the thing we can't get tired of. We can get tired of Santa Claus and Rudolph and Frosty and all of those things that go, the window dressings. But you just got to focus on the main message, which we'll do it. And by the way, when we go to the Holy Lands, we'll be able to see the place where Jesus was born. And you'd be amazed how unsimilar it is to most of our nativity scenes.
Well, I think what we will be doing, I hope we'll be doing it live, and we'll be doing it on Uniquely Lutheran, is maybe we can set some maps up and do some really cool things to prepare people. And even if you're unable to go, I think it would be great to have Jeff being able to talk about these places. And we can
probably do that.
We
sure.
can learn some stuff while we're
little geography.
Right. I think it's neat to understand that, because my envisionment, especially as a comedian, of Jesus's birth is a whole different kind of thing. For those of you that have seen my show, know that I put a lot of human characteristics into Jesus's birth, and try to make it fun without ever coming to a point where I hopefully I'm not offending anyone that's watching the show. And speaking of that, I don't believe we did offend anyone this past week. This past Sunday, we had I keep wanting to make a day for a kickoff on our Hurricane Ian relief shows, and yet people keep doing shows that are bigger and better. I have been on the road since November the 13th, doing shows at individual churches where we've had from 150 to 200 people to, because we're doing it at the very last minute, to 7 or 8 people. And whether it's one side or the other, obviously I work just as hard as a stand-up comedian, but basically what we are taking is a percentage of the net proceeds, and we are putting it towards the housing of people who will be coming down here beginning in May to start on work repair camp. They call it work camp, which to me sounds way too much like prison. So it's
a servant project is what another word for it. And I've been involved with servant projects through Novus Way, which is the organization that sponsors Lutheran Outdoor Ministry. It's in Florida. It was the older organization, but it's Luther Springs, which is a Bible camp up near Ocala, between Ocala and Gainesville. And I'll tell you what, it's not just like I said about the Holy Lands, it's not just another trip. It's not just another service project, because you will grow in your faith. This is and I'm talking to all of you guys in Minnesota and North Dakota and Wisconsin who are watching me. It's a great opportunity to see Florida.
Right, and a great opportunity to see it right in the middle of the summer. So know exactly. You want some time to get in shape, come on down here in June or July.
and Faith has a really nice facility. It's like it's built for it.
Yes,
so
it
it's
is.
going to be a safe place, and it's in a nice, beautiful town, and you'll get an opportunity to really have an impact on people's lives. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win situation.
And believe it or not, in the evening time, some of you will have opportunities to impact, or I won't call it impact, but to have a little bit of fun time with me, as well as I will be doing some shows and some group work and things like that in the evenings after you come back from your day
Great.
of work. So it's going to be
Great.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And for those of you who are wondering, this is probably going to go on for the next couple of years. That is one of the things that I always open my shows with when I do the actual benefit shows for Hurricane Ian. And as we always said, that if you watch the Weather Channel before one of these storms approached, if the weatherman Jim Cantori was close to where you were, you better batten down the hatches. And when Hurricane Ian came through, Jim Cantori was about 25 miles from my house in Sarasota, but he was between Sarasota and Fort Myers in Charlotte County. And I remember watching his in the television business, they call them hits. I don't want to get too technical or sound too insider, but when he does a hit, it means that he's on live. And he was right there near a comedy venue that I played and still play quite a bit in Port Charlotte. So I knew we had to batten down the hatches because Jim Cantori
Was that Charlie? Or
no, this is for Ian.
Wow. Okay.
Ian.
Yeah.
And then to top that off, folks, what happens is that they go through and there's a billion media people here, and the governor is here, and everybody's here, and they're talking about rescue efforts and everything like that. And what happens is when this story kind of dies down, they pack all their bags and they go to the next quote unquote event somewhere else. But what we don't realize is that people's lives are impacted here, possibly and up to the rest of their life. They don't have homes, they don't have cars, they don't have, and these aren't things that just, when the cameras pack up and leave, doesn't mean suddenly this isn't one of those home improvement shows.
Right.
Everybody believes that because we watch those home improvement shows that you can renovate a house in 30 minutes, actually 22 minutes with commercials.
They pull up the semi trucks, and all of a sudden 50 guys get out.
And they still don't do it in 22 minutes.
No.
So we have to be vigilant to help these people as they go. So I will be on my Reformation of Ian tour. Many of the pastors have already contacted me. We'll give you more information, but we're proud to announce that Cruise Planners is going to be helping us with getting me, probably going to send me on a ship to each of these places down the interstate. Now, but that will give you a link that in addition to helping with Ian, you can learn about the Holy Land tours. You're gonna have a lot of fun, because just this past Sunday we hosted about 150 people at Faith Lutheran Church, of which we, as of right now, officially, I can tell you we've officially raised $28,000. I can promise you, I'm under promise, but I can promise you with saying that this is an under promise that we will hit our goal of $30,000 probably this week.
Wow.
And so this was to a benefactor who agreed to match dollar for dollar donations up to $15,000, and a lot of other work, hard work that went into our Sunday afternoon program. And a big shout out to Carlos Trapp, and it's spelled with a K. Carlos Trapp, who is in the New York Blues Hall of Fame. He sings Christian songs as well as regular. I always hate how we differentiate that. He sings songs of faith. He also sings popular songs. He was my co-act on Sunday afternoon show. And I can promise you, as I told both Jeff and Brian before we came on live, really, I could have just sat there and been very happy listening. So with all that, lots of cool stuff, right?
What's going on? Yep.
Isn't it? It is a happy time.
Yep.
And with that, we are going to bring to close another edition of Uniquely Lutheran. But before that, remember, tomorrow night, if you're watching this on Tuesday, we have Advent services here at 6 p.m. We will have one more after that?
Two more.
Two more after that.
Right. Whew.
Well,
I didn't. There's an X. Usually it's 3 Wednesdays, but this year it's 4.
Okay, so 2 more after this. So if you can't make it this Wednesday, make sure you put your plans together to come on next Wednesday. And our regular service at 10 a.m. That you can also watch streaming on this YouTube channel. And with that, Jeff, anything else?
Nope. That's
all right.
for
Well,
now.
you have been watching
Uniquely Lutheran.
Very good.